a spot in the gym to conduct this activity. It was easy for me to find a spot in the gym to do this, to sit quietly and focus on my breathing. I paid close attention to the rise and fall of my diaphragm, the air entering my nose, and the air that I was exhaling out of my mouth and my nose. I must admit I was in a state of relaxation. I took my heart rate by placing my middle finger and my index finger on my radius, and took my radial pulse. At my rest, my pulse was about 54 beats per minute. I used a method of counting my radial pulse for 10 seconds and then multiplying by 6. I must admit that my breathing rate was slow and controlled. There was not a demand for oxygen in this particular state. My muscles were relaxed and not tense at all. My body did not have any atypical response when I performed the push-ups or when I jogged in place for 3 minutes. I immediately took my pulse using that same method as a relaxation period, and it was measured at 110 beats per minute. My heart rate was elevated. My breathing rate was considerably faster. I also noticed I was beginning to sweat. Following the run, I did feel the tensing of my calf muscles, and right around the 2-minute mark. It is recommended that following any sort of intense physical activity, individuals bend over forward from the waist to facilitate the breathing. This body position, accomplishes two purposes: facilitate blood flow to the heart, and eliminates that constriction of your rise and fall of your diaphragm. So this helps restore your natural state of breathing and pattern without compromising airflow. So during the exercise bout, especially during the cardiorespiratory portion, I did not notice. So I did notice that, and did confirm the increase of my heart rate, and that was approximately 110 beats per minute. And that was just due to the increased demand of O2 to the working muscles. Increased cardiac output, increased stroke volume, and increased systolic blood pressure all occurred when performing the jog, which are acute responses to cardiovascular exercise. So as each minute passed, I recorded my heart rate through my radial pulse. But again, it did not exceed 110 beats per minute, being that it was low intensity. So my heart rate didn't spike, astronomically. So over time, as an individual incorporates more physical activity in their daily routine, the body should make some chronic adaptations. For example, your heart rate becomes stronger and beat at a slower pace rate at rest. Your body becomes more efficient. Your heart can sustain higher intensities of exercise and return to a normal heart rate efficiently after performing your physical activity. Your stroke volume increases, which means the heart has to beat less in order to deliver oxygen throughout the body. Endurance training increases the number of capillaries and trains skeletal muscle, thereby allowing a greater capacity for blood flow in the active muscle. So according to a study by Eva Helstein, the functionally most important adaptation is the improvement in maximal cardiac output, which is the result of an enlargement in cardiac dimension, improved contractility, and an increase in blood volume, allowing for greater filling of the ventricles and a consequent larger stroke volume. So if you're interested in improving your body's efficiency of delivering oxygen throughout your body and lowering your blood pressure, you may want to consider incorporating aerobic exercise in your daily routine. So the American College of Sports Medicine recommends accumulating about 150 minutes of physical activity in order for you to experience those benefits. So as for the push-ups, I had to take some breaks along the way. My muscular endurance was not equipped to sustain the 3 minutes of push-ups, so I did experience some fatigue at the 90-second mark. So some of the acute responses was the depletion of the metabolic substrates such as creatine, phosphate, and glycogen, being that this was an activity in which it was taxing. So over time, these resistance training, you have that increased cross-sectional size of muscle fibers, also known as muscle hypertrophy. Hypertrophy of muscle occurs in different muscle fibers, your slow twitch and your fast twitch, the type 1 and type 2 respectively. Once you continue to train and manipulate the volume and intensity of your resistance training, it will cause results in increased strength, increased muscle strength and power. So do recommend getting about 2 to 3 sessions of resistance training, throughout the week. So in order to ensure that you remain healthy is prevention. So it would be a great benefit to include resistance training and aerobic training to decrease the likelihood of acquiring these chronic diseases that are detrimental to your health and well-being.